Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with Beecham's Haydn, or The Joys of Inauthenticity, also known as Dave's Faves. And I have here this lovely box containing Haydn's complete London symphonies and the seasons, all with the Royal Philharmonic, which Beecham, of course, founded, and the Nothing, and Thomas Beecham conducting. These are legendary performances, and they are as inauthentic as it's possible to be. Doesn't mean that they're exactly anachronistic. Well, maybe they are. They use the corrupt old editions that Beecham had always used from his days of youth. He was not interested in modern scholarship. He was not interested in critical editions. I mean, we're talking about the late 1950s, so, however much scholarship there was enough to say that the editions that Beecham was using were corrupt as hell. Oh, baby. And that's great. It's just great. Why is it great? Because what matters more than what edition you choose to do is how great the performance is. And if Beecham needed those editions to deliver these performances, then we are in very, very good shape. And I say more power to him. Beecham's Haydn was perfect for the editions. Modern editions of Haydn are much more, let's just say, the trumpets and drums are more prominent, and the dynamics are more less dovetailed and more sort of terraced and all that stuff. And it works great. I mean, Haydn's great. It works fabulously. I'm not saying modern editions are bad, not at all. But Beecham's Haydn was so stylish. It wasn't about, yes, in the Surprise Symphony, he wanted to make the ladies scream. He wanted to do, he liked, in the Military Symphony, he liked the percussion. He was totally keen on Haydn's instrumental innovations and the color of the symphonies. But he was also into the lost art of phrasing. And if you want to know what phrasing means, when critics talk about phrasing, you have to listen to Beecham's Haydn. Listen to the slow movement of the Clock Symphony. Listen to the way he shapes the melodies, caresses the melodies. This is conductor's Haydn. This is not the kind of Haydn where you had one rehearsal as Haydn requested because he thought, gee, we need at least one. And then you wind up the orchestra and let it go, as happens in so many period instrument performances. This is a guy who wanted to conduct Haydn and to give it all of the love and affection and smoochiness that he possibly could. And my God, it's wonderful. It is so wonderful. It doesn't sound like anybody else. Compare this to anyone else in the same music, and you will feel the guiding hand of a master musician behind every single note. And it doesn't matter which one you listen to or where you listen to it. It's just astonishing. There are no dead spots. There is nothing that's lacking in taste, or that's sort of mannered or vulgarized in any way. Nothing like that. But it breathes and it moves and it sings. And you can tell from the way he shapes the melodic lines. And my God, they don't do that today anymore. These are critically important. These are more important as examples of true period style, maybe not Haydn's period, but a period, than the period instrument people do, because of course their efforts are dedicated towards not having any particular kind of individuality of style. They're following general rules. I'm not. That's not fair, because the best period instrument performances have plenty of individuality of style. Just listen to Franz Bruggen do the same music. Tons and tons and tons of style by a guy who wants to conduct. A real conductor. Now, you also get with this the seasons, which was a real rarity in 1956 when this was recorded. And the sound is a little bit murky, but the performance is just jolly and lovely. Here's the thing. According to this box, that's with the Beecham Choral Society, by the way, since he had lots of money and he could just pay for everything, and that's what he did. This is listed as stereo throughout. It isn't. that is not possible. The first 6 Haydn symphonies were mono, and the Seasons is mono too, I believe. I'm pretty sure. I don't want to make an issue of it. There's not a huge difference sonically, and it's not something that I think is all that important, but you should know. And the reason is because the first 6 Haydn symphonies particularly were recorded in Paris with the Royal Philharmonic and the Saal Walgram. And interestingly enough, in the 1950s, EMI withheld stereo equipment from French EMI or Pathé Marconi or whoever the hell it was in France because they wanted it for themselves. And they didn't want to give those icky French people a leg up by letting them have their newfangled stereo stuff. It's a famous little story in the history of recorded sound. So it was only a couple of years later that stereo came to Paris. First it was in England, and it was a trade secret. So there you go. Anyway, the first 6 London symphonies are mono, the rest are stereo. The whole thing is absolutely unforgettable and a wonderful example of Beecham's genius, and I just love it to death. Really wonderful music making. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.